is simply not true. You are being deceived. But anyway, so going back to the point, so you've sent a notice, you've sent your notices off to the DVLA. What did you intend to achieve by it, and what's happened since then?
Well, the claim of right has been perfected that this car is now in the ownership of a man, myself. So then I noticed the Leicestershire Constabulary, the Roads Policing Unit, and I noticed the officer commanding that unit, Inspector Viv Brenchley, and I gave her opportunity for lawful objection. Now she didn't actually object. She just cited basically that the Secretary of State for Transport is responsible for registration of all vehicles, and that she quoted various legislation which doesn't apply to me, applies to the person, and then said that if you were found to be if you're stopped by a police officer and found to be breaking the law in terms of vehicle usage, then she'll have no option but to report me for the offences disclosed.
Okay. Not denying what you're saying.
No.
They are merely going back to stating what statutes, rules and regulations apply to those operating a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, persons operating a motor vehicle. All legalese colour of law terms that tie you into these applied contracts that exist on your person.
Yeah, but again that was written to the person and not me, the man.
Yeah.
So I needed to make sure that she understood perfectly well who was speaking to her and where I was coming from, what my position is in the law. And the best way to do this is to get them on their oath. All police officers should have taken an oath, which puts them in a position of common law. And so you evoke this in your notices. So then
How did you achieve that?
Well, I can read you an example.
Go for it. I should say that all of this documentation, whilst not personalised to Richard, will be made available on tpuc.org at some point in the not too distant future.
So I basically say this, is that I remind you that in the office of Constable, you have sworn an oath before God to uphold the common law of England and God's law. I accept your oath of office and oath of every other office holder, as it is my understanding that it is yours and every other office holder's duty to protect and defend all of my rights as a free man on the land known as England. So basically this evokes their oath and the common law. It has nothing to do with statutes, legislation. So
you've gone through. I mean, this procedure. I mean, what we're talking about here is the culmination of a lot of reading, a lot of learning, and a lot of stuff which I suppose clicks into place. And then once you've really got that, you feel. I mean, I know I feel the same way. You feel almost compelled just to tell these agencies masquerading as authorities that you're onto them, and you want to remind them of how things should be working. You know, once you've done that, okay, now that you've done this, you know, this is not a small amount of work, and I recommend to anyone that happens to listen to this in the future that you don't do this blindly. You may see the sense in what we're doing, but until you understand it properly and what's going on, I wouldn't recommend that you start writing to these people, because it can bring some attention on you, and I'm not wanting to be I'm not wanting to scaremonger or anything, but it is possible that they may come and knock on your door. Perhaps not with any malicious intent, but the fact is, you may get a brush with the authorities, and that's just the way it works.
That's very possible. So what you need to do is actually do your research.
Do your homework.
Look at the Constitution, look at the coronation oath, because that's key. The key thing to this is actually the oath of the Queen that she takes on a coronation, and that anybody who swears oath of allegiance to the Queen or to serve the Queen actually takes on the oath of the Queen. Now, in that oath, it talks about upholding God's law and the traditions and customs and law of the people of England. And also in that it tells you, it's very clear that the authority that the Queen has comes from the people themselves.
Right.
So the true source of power on this land is the people.
Absolutely.
So when a police officer swears an oath, they may not realise it, but swearing that oath means to take on that responsibility. And so
as peace officers, not policy enforcement,
Yeah.
not police, not enforcement officers, but peace officers
Yeah.
to uphold the common law and the peace.
But most police, well, probably all police officers these days really don't know the difference between the private and the public, between statutes and laws. You know, when problems occur, it's not necessarily their fault. And also as well, it is that
The officers.
yeah, they're being told what to do as well. So the following orders.
Yeah.
Okay, which is
Just doing my job.
yeah, Nuremberg trials, you know. But they do have a responsibility to actually know this stuff.
They do. There's been a bit of discourse in the media recently about trying to depopularise the swearing of any one particular oath by an officer when they're sworn in to do their duty, and change the allegiance that they're swearing into, so it may not necessarily be God anymore. It might be another entity, or it may be just trying to weaken the importance of having that.
Yeah, well, the oath that they say, it doesn't mention God in it, but the implication is that because they're swearing allegiance to the Queen or to serve the Queen, then that invokes the oath of the Queen.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing to understand. Now, when we talk about God's laws, I'm not talking about it in religious context. I'm talking about it as law, and that this comes into it in a big way. So don't be put off about the word God if you're not religious. You've been put off by religion and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the Bible is a book of law. And if you can get your head around that and understand the law in the Bible, I mean, some of it doesn't apply, some of it's a bit ridiculous, but some of it are fundamental truths, maxims.
Absolutely.
And when you start using those, they cannot get out of it.
And your final letter to what was it? Ivan or another? What's his name?
Ivan Stafford.
There you go, Ivan Stafford.
Yeah, but I believe his rank is detective sergeant.
Right.
And he's part of the legal team on the Roads Policing Unit at Leicestershire Constabulary.
Right.
And he's been in the media a fair amount over the years in relation to road usage, vehicle usage, accidents and that sort of thing. So, and this guy has a master's in law, and he's a member of the Society of Legal Scholars. So this guy should really know what he's talking about. But in the final letter I got from the place which was from him, what he was trying to do was basically tell me that I was a subject of Her Majesty the Queen, and that because of by accident of birth I was born on this land,
Amazing.
that I am subject to the laws of England and Wales, whether I like it or not.
Which implies no choice.
Yeah, it implies that we're under a dictatorship, and that there's, consent doesn't come into this. And basically, he did not mention consent once in his letter, but he did talk about other people acquiescing into terms of registering the vehicle and complying to the statutes.
Yeah.
So, at one stage, he's telling me that I've got no choice. And then he's saying that other people have acquiesced. And acquiesced means that by your ignorance you agree.
Yeah.
Which means that you have a choice.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because I mean, like, a lot of people maybe wouldn't even get that far because they wouldn't write these kind of letters to elicit that kind of response. But I've read that letter that came back to you, and the way that it's written is just like, oh man, this guy's coming from a different angle completely. It's like he knows what's going on and he's trying to tell it to you in such a way that you will be duped by it. But like you say, and like the reg on your car, was it consensus facit legem? consent makes the law,
That's right.
as you said before. Now that I can understand, because that is the essence of a contract. That's two parties